I thought I was getting half decent at this karting stuff. But welcome to Grimdark Karting, and in this video, I realised that, man, do I suck at this. I'm at TeamSport Warrington for a charity event in the aid of mind. I didn't expect to achieve an awful lot, and considering that the field consisted of Jamie Chase, Jake Anders, Josh Wynn / Karting with Josh, Jasper Fitzgerald-Wolf, Spencer Fitzgerald-Wolf, Alex Westmoreland, Will Harvey, Kieran Holdsworth, Reece Dunn, Darren Stables, Lucas Steele, Libby Wolven, Christopher Knight, Luke Burrow, Kieran Glenville, Jake Davison, Ellis Davis, alongside a whole bunch of fast racers whose Instagram profiles I just couldn't find. But needless to say, I'm amongst some real good racers. But before we go into the most humbling karting experience of my life, the format. All adult drivers were split into one of 3 groups, and each group followed this format. A 5-minute practice, 5-minute qualifying, which set the grid for Heat 1. Heat 2 was a reverse of the Heat 1 finish, Heat 3 was a reverse of the Heat 2 finish, and the same again for Heat 4. Each heat earns you points which set the grid for your group's semi-final, with the top 5 finishers going on to the grand final. Now that's out of the way, how did I do in qualifying? So, while you're watching what I'm going to describe as an enthusiastic qualifying lap, which, by the way, was my fastest, let me explain my mindset about this event. See, I came into this thinking it's a big grid, 70 drivers, this will be fun, a bit of chaos, a bit of racing. Surely there'll be a few drivers at least around my level. On reflection though, the problem is, I didn't know what my level was. And after this event, I was reminded of something my favourite wrestler once said.
I thought I was good, you know? I really thought I was good. And then I got in the ring with Eddie Guerrero, and I was like, holy crap, am I bad?
Yeah, that's right, I'm a nerd. Anyway, to clarify, I don't think I'm really good. Maybe half decent around Warrington at least, seeing as I've spent so much time here since I started karting back in September. But how can you improve if you don't test yourself against some of the best? So that's part of the reason why I'm here. So as we round off the lap, we clock in at a middling 53.751, which set the tone as I was 11th of 14 in my group. And it was about this time I started to realise where my level was. Heat 1 was largely uneventful. So let's get to Heat 2. After a standard start, I've given too much respect around turn 2, leaving space on the inside, but I get caught up in the melee ahead, allowing some folks to get past me, so a nice drop of 5 positions in 3 corners. Here I've managed to make up a place with a little bit of a nudge, but then I get nudged myself and manage to keep the inside before heading upstairs to chase the group ahead. But, and this becomes a huge theme for all the heats in this group, an incident brings out the yellow flag, stopping play. And now we're red. So, we'll just skip ahead. It's taken us 3 minutes. Completed lap 1. I've dropped some places but managed to claw one back, and with the guys ahead, if you can get out, they're not stopping me yet. Operation stick to the back of this guy and pick up any scraps is on. So that's just what I'm going to try and do. And we're approaching my favourite corners, so unless someone behind me has something to say about it, Chris Knight absolutely mugs me off going up the ramp, makes me look a fool, and lets not just him but anyone glued to his bumper through as well.
this is not the last we see of Chris tonight in this session. And we get the second red of the session, and we see that Knight has made it past Jake Davison since mugging me off, and I can now see that Tom Shaw was the guy who got past me as well. So when we go green, keeping up is not going to be easy. We complete lap 2, but this time within 3 minutes. So more battling ahead means I get to stick to the back of Davidson, but it's the third red in as many laps. Let's skip ahead. As we hit this hairpin, Davison must get held up, so I give him a little nudge as I go around. So I don't know if he's giving me one back or I'm just in the way of his rear. Either way, it's all good. So I'm taking this as a win, as Jake chooses to go defensive under Century Sim. Now I appreciate it, brother, but I don't think you've got much to fear from me. As we finish lap 4, Will Harvey, who must weigh as much as my leg, throws it into that wide open space that I'd left open. But as we round turn 2, he leaves a gap for me to sneak through into turn 3, where he's carrying far more speed and much less weight and breezes right back again. On lap 6, and we've come across 3 drivers who've met a bit of bother. Now, I don't know if this is a little bit cheeky, but making up 3 places is making up 3 places, so sorry guys. After that yellow comes to a close, I'm in 8th, which is not a terrible place for damage limitation, and Harvey isn't getting away just yet, so here's hoping I can stick here and bring this home. No, because here comes Chris Knight again to mug me off. Again. But I do keep the place loss to just the 1. And this was something I took away from this event as we approached the finish for the heat. By competing against some seasoned racers, it was clear that they had developed, or more likely were born, with that killer instinct. I need to start driving like a racer and not a hot lapper. So, a drop of 5 places in the heat, so not a good one. And I'd love to say that things get better. But no. Heat 3, and I get loaded round turn 1 to push me down 5 places. But once again, I'm giving too much respect in this opening lap going around turn 3. There's keeping your nose clean, and then there's just letting other people pass you easily. I have a bit of side-by-side action with Tom Shaw, but he's done the job and kept me behind. Upstairs, we've taken a leaf right out of his own book and followed Tom Shaw through to take a position, but I feel the need to throw my hand up in apology. Finishing lap 1 without any red flags by the way, and once again with hemorrhage places, and Shaw has taken off as I struggle with a slippery back end. Giggity, 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 giggity. Sorry, I couldn't resist. Lap 3 and the group ahead have started to drop me. However, I come across Shaw, who's found himself marooned around turn 3. So, what do we think we do here? Option A, slow down and let him get back on track. Option B, find a nice route around him and carry on our merry way. Or option C, just drive into him. Of course the answer was C. Sorry, mate. As we skip ahead, I'm noticing that I'm starting to catch a couple of guys up the road. Maybe I could actually look to do something at least semi-offensive this race. But as we finish lap 4, I get loaded going into turn 1. So we're 3 abreast into turn 2. And now, after turn 3, I'm side by side with Shaw once again down Monaco, but he's got the speed. And then another gets past just for good measure. It is a real shame that I felt I could have made some headway up ahead, but just not this time. But there's nothing more depressing in a kart race than to see the guys ahead move further and further away, other than, after seeing them getting away, making every mistake you possibly can trying too hard to catch up to them. Thankfully, a red light brings an end to my misery. And once we're back at yellow, the race is called as being finished. Second to last, but not with utterly terrible times. It just felt like everyone else had just an extra gear to me, which somehow, when I was on the in lap and after the race, made it feel even worse. Do I just suck at this? And there's always heat 4, right? Starting P2, I try my best to cover off the inside, but I could have done more and been more aggressive. I get held up on the exit of 2, allowing that damn Shaw once again to find his way under me as we hit the Monaco straight. Shaw makes a great move on the century to take second, but I've got someone leaning into me, causing me to go wide, but I do keep the position after getting bashed from behind. But all that does is leave me slow up the ramp, and a great move by this guy to allow himself and Davison through. I've just realised from watching this back how much I bashed Davison all the way through these heats on this night. So sorry. Although all that bashing has left me slow at the end of the lap, it will come down the start-finish straight in P6. There's a loss of 4 places so far. That is the best first lap of the night for me. Don't I suck? And to prove how much I suck, I've left the door wide open. Why don't I defend? And I get mugged under century, but I take the place back. I'm starting to make headway on the guys ahead. This car feels warm right off the bat, but instead of driving properly, I understeer into the barrier. And because of that, the guy behind is launching an attack, but I've managed to shut it down for once, going a little defensive into turn 3. See? I can do it. And we're going defensive again under century. Where has this guy been all night? I'm now closing the gap on the duo ahead, and again I give Davison another nudge up the rear. I promise I'm not doing it on purpose. Now as we hit the start-finish straight, I'm closing, and maybe on this next lap I can make a move. Jesus Christ. Oh, for f***'s sake. Okay, and bruise. Oh yeah, you be the judge of this. I've definitely left a gap here, but have I been using the brake / barrier a bit here? Yeah, to hell with it. So we're back to Operation Catch Up to the next guy, stick to his back and try and pick up any scraps that we can. P9. But we soon hit yellow. But then turns to a really weird red.
No, previous guy. Me?
Yeah.
18.
18.
And then we see Chris Knight emerge from the pit. So I'll have him looking to mug me off soon as well. As we get going again, the car in front has a nasty case of the bumps. And all I'm thinking is, this kid probably has a flat tyre, yet I'm just about keeping up with him. After a couple of laps of argy-bargy, I sneak a place, but oh for God! Knight once again takes full advantage of the argy-bargy and gets through alongside this dude with the best kart suit I think I've ever seen. It also suits my channel colours, so listen bud, if you want to sell... And all that on the last lap. And with that, the heats are done and I'm going to be starting the semi-finals in second to last, which is no surprise frankly. However, the groups are going to be mixed up for the semis, so I'll be racing some guys that I've not raced yet this night, so anything could happen and who knows, maybe I'll look myself into a top 5 finish.
As we approach turn 2, I'm choosing the outside, and once again I'm giving far too much respect. But as we approach turn 3, there's once again been one big schmoz. It would be rude to let that go to waste, right? And as Will Harvey makes some enthusiastic gestures about being hard done by, I'm just sat here, somehow in 6th place, like... But as we go back to green, wait, I'm in 6th. Not through any skill on my part, but if I can make up one space, I'm in the final. Now that's going to be no easy feat considering Harvey and Karting with Josh are just up ahead of me. What definitely isn't going to help is me losing my back end all over this entire first sector. Lap 3, and that's more like it around turn 1, and then also again as we go around turn 2, and also turn 3. If the 3 ahead begin to battle, and I can maybe keep absorbing some of this skill from the folk around me, and remember that this is a longer race than the heats, who knows? And I'm pretty sure they're not bombing away from me. And I'm doing some consistent 53-second laps. Now, not amazing given the competition, but it's keeping me in range of the trio ahead. Maybe it's taken me all night to find a little bit of form. It seems this is the section that I'm losing out the most. I make up a little bit of time on the up ramp, but then I get drops again around the back wall dogleg, and then after the exit of this right-hand hairpin. But, on a positive note, I can see all the drivers in front of me, something I haven't been able to say all event. Fast forward a couple laps, my times are still staying in the low 53s, and the squabbling ahead means I've still not been dropped. However, not clear on my footage, but these last few laps I have been very aware of the guy behind me who is gaining on me lap by lap. So now I've got that to consider. And here he comes under sentry, and I try and defend on the next left, but he's got his nose ahead to take the inside on the hairpin. Now what's interesting that this guy is Alex Westmoreland, who, doing research for this video, is a guy who, like me, began karting last year. He threw himself at BIKC and placed 7th at regionals. A visual marker of an extra few months experience over me, and he's another heavyweight. So it does mean I can't be blaming weight disparity for this one. Go ahead, fella. As we hit lap 10, Alex isn't getting too far away, but I'm about to be under attack from 8th place. I've got the inside for 3, and I'm thinking I've shut the attack down, but nope. He's got around 3 tighter and faster than I have. Now I'm definitely pulling out the weight card. They go defensive on the sentry to block me out. I see if I can manage a switch back of my own, but I just don't have the speed. Again, I am faster at the top of the ramp and give them a big old push, but I think that's probably my hopes for places in the final gone up in smoke. And I must have realised it while on track, as on the next lap, I decided to smash into the barrier at turn 3, allowing this guy through, demoting me to 9th. Never mind. But once again, at the top of the ramp, I make up some ground. I'm trying to stick to this guy's bumper all the way around the upstairs section, but I just know that as soon as we hit that tight hairpin right-hander, that I'm going to be left for dead. You see, we're pretty close here, but if we get to the end of the lap, let's see how big that gap is. Pretty big. And so, unfortunately, that's where I finished as we crossed the line. In the end, it was a gain of 2 places from my start position, but no semi-final for me. Now, at the beginning of this video, I said that I sucked, and I think at some occasions here, I genuinely did, but also, I've been karting for 5 months, and this experience taught me an awful lot about racing against genuinely fast people. So, maybe I do suck, but I won't suck as much next time. Hopefully. But that wasn't what this event was about. This was for the charity Mind, and to be a part of an event that raised £3,690, thanks to the efforts of the staff at Warrington, especially Lauren, well, I'm just happy to have been involved. I'm Grimdark Karting, and until the next one, have a good one.